granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. Sometimes I have the feeling that I'm halfway down a mountain and there's a shelf of rock just above me, which is sheltering me from an avalanche where the top of the mountain is just falling down. And what I'm doing is I'm sitting under this shelf of rock, watching these boulders bouncing down the mountain. And I'm simply remarking on the boulders falling down around me. I'm fairly insulated from them, and I'm just sitting there saying, oh yeah, there's another part of the mountain falling off. Yep, there goes another rock. Oh, look at that. That was a big one. Ah, yes, another rock. And I'm remarking on it and can't do anything about it but point to the falling of this rock as the mountain above me just disintegrates and falls down, in the hope that this whole avalanche will not bring the mountain down so far that my little cave will end up in the rubble as well, although ultimately it will. That's how I'm feeling about what I'm seeing is happening to British society and British institutions now. And the worst of it is that I know that up there, where I can't see them, there are British people pushing the rocks down the mountain. They are actually helping the process. So I was reminded of this mental image I have when I saw this article in the newspaper. Children's drawings could be blasphemous under Islamic law, councils say. So Labour councils, that's in the north of England, guidance says some art may be considered idolatrous and music and dance may conflict with religious sensibilities. And indeed it might. And indeed drawing is not encouraged by religious Muslim societies. What does that have to do with us? Well, the answer is nothing at all, except that these councils are making it have to do with us. And it's not just the councils, it's the government, because they're encouraging this sort of thing. For instance, a year ago, almost to the day, I made this video here. I'll leave a link to it, which was about the appointment of Sir Hamid Patel, who it was head of Ofsted, the Inspectorate for Education in Britain. I don't know, does it apply in Scotland as well? I'm not sure. Anyway, certainly in England and Wales. And I looked at this gentleman here and I said that he might be a very nice man, but that makes me uncomfortable. And it made me uncomfortable for this reason. Not that he's a Muslim, but that he is obviously a religious Muslim, so religious that he doesn't want to even wear the clothes of British society. That is separating yourself out from British society. Now, look, if he wants to run Muslim schools and he wants to separate himself in that way from British society, that's his business and the business of the Muslims who patronise his schools. But it shouldn't be our business in the wider world, let's say. And I found this very uncomfortable. He's even got a sort of regulation Muslim beard. There's everything about him that says that he is a very, very, very committed Muslim. And indeed, he started off as the headmaster of a girls' school I don't know if I've got it. Anyway, it was called the Tawhid al-Islam, the Oneness of Islam school, and it was for girls. And he told the girls, and obviously in the school uniform, the girls had to wear headscarves, and he was telling them that they had to wear headscarves out of the school as well. In other words, he was imposing his ideas on these girls when they were outside the school and technically beyond his remit. I don't know whether that had any effect on the way he treated them when they actually came to the school, whether they were punished in some way. I don't know. But the fact that he even had the gall to tell these girls, look, when you leave the school, you have to act in this way, you have to dress in this way, even though outside the school I should have no particular influence on your behaviour. Right, so but that's sort of typical, because it's this oneness of Islam and politics. You know, there's no division between the school and the home, between politics and religion. It's all one thing, which I suppose Tawhid al-Islam means. By the way, for those of you who had who took my lesson in Semitic languages, I mean, this guy is obviously from the Indian subcontinent somewhere, but Tawhid al-Islam is Arabic, and if you look at the word Tawhid, you will see the root there, wahad, which is the Arabic for one. So just to remind you, you know, we're still using those 3-letter codes. Well, my mind is on it now, so that's why I mentioned it. All right, so I said this was disturbed. I found this disturbing. I was a bit creeped out by it, and I got comments underneath the video saying, why are you so worried? He's only the temporary head of Ofsted, and why are you so bigoted and everything? Well, look, he's the temporary head. That was a year ago, and he's still the head. That's not so temporary. But it's obvious that partly his influence is leaking over into general education, because the Labour councils, of course, they're always falling over themselves to lick the boots of their Muslim clients, and they're now starting to give a feeling of disquiet about teaching subjects that we would consider so normal we don't even think about it, like kids drawing, for instance, or dancing. There's some gym classes that might involve dancing or physical movement of some sort. So they say schools have been advised that children's drawings could be considered blasphemous. So teachers will know that they know what happened to that teacher in Batley, who in a perfectly ordinary curriculum-run religious education class got accused of blasphemy, and the school was closed down, and there were demonstrations outside the school, and the guy has some sort of a threats of death over him. He can't teach now, and he's still hiding. And so it says here, this advice, they call it advice, but it's not advice, because the teachers know if they fall foul of any of these pieces of advice, they're not going to get any help from their councils, they're not going to get any help from their unions, and they're going to end up like that teacher in Batley, or they could end up like that teacher in Batley. If they're lucky, they might simply lose their jobs or not get promotions, whatever. The advice designed to help teachers adapt to religious sensitivity also warns that music and dance lessons could be contrary to the teachings of Islam. And again, this may be just advice, it may be just guidelines, but why are they there in the first place? If the kids have parents who are so worried about their children being exposed to drawings, they should be taking their children to faith schools. They shouldn't be changing the schools that are run by the public. Diversity in the classroom can be a great source of strength, but that schools will want to be flexible in catering for religious difference. No, they don't want to be flexible. They certainly don't. They want to teach subjects. That's what they want to do. And if the Muslim parents want their children to remain ignorant, then that's the Muslim parents' prerogative. But they shouldn't be imposing that sort of ignorance on other children. The guidance was issued by local authorities across the north of England, so that means there's some sort of a concerted effort there. Several authorities all issued this at the same time, and no doubt through some sort of pressure from some sort of Muslim group. It might have come from Sir Hamid himself, or it might have come from a group of different Muslim communities throughout the north of England. But it was issued by local authorities, including Kirklees, the council area that covers the Batley Grammar School. That was the school that had the riots outside because of a teacher teaching the curriculum, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Oh, it says here 2021. Teachers have been advised it's very important that the school understands this and is also careful not to ask its students to reproduce images of Jesus. You can't have Christianity without images of Jesus. So what they are doing is they're removing Christianity from this, or a good chunk of Christianity. Images of Jesus, and then they say the Prophet Muhammad. Why don't they say the Saviour Jesus? Why do they say the Prophet Muhammad? There are lots of prophets. There's, oh crikey, Ezekiel, Elijah. Oh gosh. Well, anyway, you know, there are dozens of prophets in the Old Testament, our Bible, by the way, and we never refer to them as the prophet Elijah or the prophet Ezekiel or even the Saviour Jesus, do we? So why should we refer to that as the Prophet Muhammad? Well, we could say the Muslim Prophet Muhammad, nothing wrong with that. But the Prophet Muhammad, that means we are thinking of him as the prophet, and the others, not so much. Or other figures considered to be prophets in Islam. Well, that's a good deal out of the history of art lessons, isn't it? All those medieval and Renaissance paintings and all the rest of it, they had nothing but prophets in them. Right, the prohibition is... so here the newspaper is explaining what the Muslim objection to all of this is. No, we don't need explanations. Our custom is to draw pictures of our holy people. Some of them may not be all that accurate, but that's our custom anyway. And that's our custom. If it's not the Muslim custom to do it, that should be their custom. They can stick to it. Good luck to them. But not in our schools. And then there's a discussion about some scholars saying music is allowed and others saying it isn't. That's because Muhammad had a thing about music. He didn't like it very much. There are some people with some sort of a mental disability that makes them unable to appreciate music, and it looks very much like Muhammad was one of them. But why that should be imposed on all the rest of us, well, there is actually no reason for it, apart from some sort of, rock pushing going on for some reason. And good grief, dance lessons could cause parental concerns over physical contact between males and females. So here, Leeds City Council, guidance on music. There shouldn't be guidance on music. Yeah, music lessons, that's it. Leeds City Council, guidance on art. Okay. And then it says such guidance can play a part in building harmony and understanding. Actually, harmony is the last thing that guidance is going to help, isn't it? And here we have Essex Council, which isn't a northern place, guidance on art and guidance on music. So these things are being put into our minds where they just weren't anything we thought about before. So what are we going to do about this? Well, look, all, as I say, we're just us, people listening to this, are, just watching those boulders bouncing past the cave. And can any of you blame me for a feeling of hopelessness to stop it? Okay, well, anyway, yep. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.